Welcome back to the podcast. We're going through narcissists in relationships and why you attract them into your relationships, what a narcissist is, and how you can improve moving forward so you stop attracting them into your life. Because if you are attracting narcissists into your life and your relationships, that's your fault. And there is a massive trigger warning for this podcast because I know it's going to trigger a lot of people because I talk about this topic a lot and people get triggered by it. So trigger warning before we move forward. So there's very few things I want to dive into. So I personally don't actually subscribe to the title or the label that someone is, quote, a narcissist. I've never met a baby who was born with the label of a manufacturing stamp saying this baby is a narcissist. Have you? No, you haven't. We pick up behaviors and patterns that people would then classify as narcissistic behaviors. And then at some point, someone would label that person as a narcissist. So what I would recommend doing, this is the first part I want you to lean into. Dr. John Demartini is one of my favorite mentors. He's helped me significantly. He's played a huge part of my role. And he teaches us really beautifully. It's essentially owning the traits. Every single character trait, behavior that human beings display, and he did this big research thing that he did. There was like 4,600 traits. It was something massive. And he went through one by one and owned the fact and found in his life where he has displayed that trait. I am a human being. You are a human being. Every single human being displays every single character trait on the planet. I like using this one as an example because most people can relate to it. I do it in events, so it's funny with events. But right now, put your hand up if you've been honest before and you see yourself as an honest person. 99 of people or 100% of people put their hands up. Then I say, great. Put your hand up if you've fucking lied before. Everyone laughs, put their hand up again. Because every single human being has lied before. Every single human being has been honest before. And I'm just going to use me because you're going to get triggered, so I'll just use myself. I've been nice before. I've been mean before. I've given before. I've taken before. I've been selfless before. I've been selfish before. Every single character trait that you can think of, you have done it. You might have done it in different forms. This is where you got to understand this part. You might not do it in the exact same form this person you're judging that is. So they might be displaying it in a different way than you display it, but you do the same thing. So what I did, as an example, is I Googled, if you're not watching the video of this podcast, I recommend watch the video of this. I've just Googled traits of a narcissist. I guarantee you every single one of these traits, you have done it before. So one of them, lack of empathy. Have you lacked empathy before? Have you been an asshole before? Fuck yes, you have. I have as well. Have you been arrogant before? Absolutely, I have before. Have you had the need for admiration? So you wanted to be admired? Absolutely. It's like all of these traits right now, few boundaries, you've been controlling, you've had an inflated sense of self, you've criticized people before. Every single one of these you have displayed. So it's not, is someone, quote, a narcissist or is someone not a narcissist? It's what traits, firstly, do you categorize as narcissistic? And then how frequently do you display those traits? It's a spectrum. It's not a are you or are you not. It's not a binary yes or no. It's a spectrum. It's like, let's say 0 to 100%. It's like at what point along that spectrum does someone become someone who you would call a narcissist? Is it 10%, 20%, 40%, 60%, 100%? What is it? Because it's not 0, it's not 100. Because someone's not narcissistic 100% of the time, and someone's never not narcissistic. Because I guarantee you've lied before. I guarantee you've been. It's like, this is a funny one, because if you actually look through the polarity and the paradox opposite, or just the opposite trait through a different lens, people say like someone who's been really self-centered and really self-assured, and they inflate their self and they put their self first, essentially. You could say setting boundaries and putting your needs first, filling up your cup before you fill up others. That is, for me, that's a healthy fucking trait. I do that all the time. When people say, hey, do you want to come catch up? You want to hang out? And I'm like, hey, I did it last night, actually. I had friends that said, hey, you want to catch up? The State of Origin was on for people that are in Australia. And they asked me to go hang out with them and go see them. And I was like, I actually said yes. But then, close to the game, I was like, I just feel like staying home. My energy is a bit low and I just need to recharge. So I was selfish and said, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to come. I'm going to stay at home. So yes, I put my needs first. Does that make me a narcissist? Because I put my needs ahead of theirs? Because I'm just wanting to prioritize my own fucking needs and recharge? Because that is what people would categorize as a trait of a narcissist. What I'm trying to get across, every single trait that a narcissist, that people label a narcissist, every single trait, you do it. You've done it before, I guarantee you. And if you're too arrogant to own the trait, then that's what a narcissist is. They're arrogant. They're oblivious. They don't recognize it. But this is the part that's maybe beneficial for you. It is a spectrum. So my question and my answers for you, what causes someone to be more narcissistic than someone else? That's a powerful question. Here's my answer. A lot of the traits that people would categorize as a narcissistic trait is compensation from unhealed wounds. And wounds, I categorize that as trauma, limiting beliefs, or blocks, energetic blocks. So there's my 3 types of wounds that I talk about. So for example, say they have a belief that they're not enough. A narcissist will generally become overcompensative, where they will have to put their needs and have to show themselves off to make themselves feel like they are enough. That's where the sort of generalized view comes from, where all they're doing is overcompensating. They weren't born like that. A baby's not born like that. And it's funny, if you say, I've never been narcissistic. Have you ever met a fucking 2-year-old? Mine, everything's mine. Every fucking 2-year-old's narcissistic. Which is just a side tangent for you. So most traits that most people would categorize as they are a narcissist, those traits generally come from unhealed wounds. So for me, when I see someone who's, again, I keep putting air quotes on these, but what most people call narcissistic traits, I see them and I recognize that they are just overcompensating from unhealed wounds. So when I see someone who has, quote, the big ego and is very narcissistic, I look at them as a very hurt little boy, little girl who hasn't healed yet. And I've had some people say narcissists can't heal. I don't fucking agree to that. Any wound can be healed. I've helped people heal through rape, abuse, abandonment, not being enough, not being seen, not being held, not being safe, being hurt in the bedroom, being hurt financially, being hurt mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I've helped heal wounds across the spectrum. So I believe every wound can be healed. However, here's the caveat. If the person wants to heal, you can drag a horse to water, you can't make it drink. You can't drag someone to the altar. Now, someone who, again, is, quote, narcissistic, they're probably less likely to want to heal. That's okay. They're not ready for that yet. That's cool. I've had people come to me. It's really beautiful. I've had clients literally message me saying, hey, I just saw one of your videos around narcissist or whatever, and I really resonated with it. I honestly feel like I am a narcissist and I want to heal through it. So it's fucking possible. Any wound can be healed if they're ready and willing to do the work to get there. Now, this is where I want to flip the script on you. Relationships, the people you attract into your relationships are the energetic mirror to you. I'll say that again. Your relationships are energetic mirrors to you. So let's put the cliche narcissist. What's the mirror to that? So let's say the narcissist puts their needs first. They're super selfish. They're very arrogant. They lie. They manipulate. They do all those things. What is the energetic mirror to that? I would say, because it's from experience, because I was this person, you're very soft, weak people pleasers. So if I've asked thousands of people this question, and I've never had anyone not fit into this answer. If you've attracted a narcissist, I guarantee you had soft boundaries, you lack self-worth, and you weren't firm enough with your boundaries. I've never met anyone who doesn't fall into those categories. So if you are attracting a narcissist, they are going to gift you with the lesson to improve those things, to improve your self-worth, to learn how to fucking set boundaries and learn how to fucking enforce them. Because you repeat problems until you learn the lessons they're there to teach you, right? So that be my invitation to you. If you, firstly, stop labeling as people as like, you are a narcissist. I don't believe in the label. Even though I post content about it, I post it because most people, I like to speak in terms of the language of what most people use. Okay. Most people, if you know my dad and you ask my mum, you ask my siblings, and people that know my dad, most people would say my dad's a narcissist. Where I know my dad, I know him very intimately. And he's hurt me. He's given me my trauma. He's given me my gifts, because your wounds are gifts once you heal through them. I recognize that he is doing the best of what he has. He's just overcompensating with all the shit that he got from his parents and his upbringing. And that expresses itself as what people would categorize as narcissism. I get that. That's cool. The same people. And it's funny. In the moment when you call someone a narcissist, what are you doing? What are you being? You're being a fucking narcissist. You're putting someone else down to put yourself up. You narcissistic bastard. Isn't that funny? The moment you call someone a narcissist, in that moment, you're being a narcissist. You're putting someone else down to inflate yourself. Isn't that interesting? That's the exact moment where you display the trait. Side tangent. So if you are attracting these people into your life, into your relationships, they are there to teach you the gift of to heal your wounds, heal your limiting beliefs, heal your trauma, heal through your stuff, to increase your self-worth, to value yourself, to do the inner work, to prioritize yourself, to honor yourself, to set fucking boundaries and enforce those boundaries. And until you learn those lessons, you're going to keep attracting the same people with different faces. You see it all the time. And that's my invitation to you. A narcissist is there to help you heal, grow, set boundaries, and enforce them. Because this is a bitter pill to swallow, my friends, is you get in life what you tolerate. I'll say that again. You get in life what you tolerate. I love my wife. She just left to go to an event. I love her so much. At the same time, I have boundaries and standards and expectations for myself. Now, do we all get triggered and we all project sometimes? Absolutely. I'm a human too. I've been triggered too. You get triggered too. We're all human beings, right? But at the same time, say today, she just starts being an absolute bitch to me, an absolute asshole to me, and was really mean, really criticizing, really whatever. Firstly, I'd probably get triggered. And I would hopefully come from empathy and say, hey, baby, what's going on? This isn't like you. What's going on? What's coming up for you? Are you triggered right now? Why are you acting this way? And I would start with love. But if that was to continue, I have no problems setting boundaries and having consequences, which at the extreme is being willing to walk away. Because if you're not walking away from this bullshit, you're tolerating it. Your relationship is where it is right now because you've allowed it to get there. If my partner started treating me like absolute trash tomorrow, and it wasn't like a once-off, she got triggered and there's something coming up for her, and I would help her through that. If she just became that person, I would fucking leave her. And I know I'm sounding very brutal, very black and white, very analytical. I get that. Would there be emotions? Would I grieve? Would I be sad? Would I be emotional? Of course I would. But I have boundaries and standards for myself now. I didn't used to. I used to be the people pleaser. And that's why I attracted narcissists all through my life. Because those were the people that the universe sent me to get me to learn the lessons that I have now, which I hopefully can pass on to you. So I hope you guys have gotten some value from this. Firstly, let's summarize this. I don't believe in the label of someone is, quote, a narcissist. There are narcissistic traits which every human being has and displays. You do it, I do it, every single human being does it. It is a spectrum. If you do it more than someone else, or someone does it more than someone else, I, from my experience, have found those people have more wounds and limitations and trauma they haven't healed through yet. Every single human can heal. Every wound can be healed through if they're ready and willing to do the work. And you can't control them. That's up to you. That's up to them, I should say. Never force someone to do their own work. Let them inspire them and encourage them to do so. On the flip side of things, if you're attracting a narcissist into your relationship, that is revealing the wounds you haven't healed through yet, the lack of self-worth that you have, the lack of boundaries you have, the lack of enforcing of boundaries that you've had. And that's your initiation for you to wake the fuck up and to start to enforce boundaries and set them. And then you'll stop attracting them. Literally. So I hope you got some value from this. This probably triggered the shit out of you, and I'm okay with that. If you completely disagree with me, that's okay. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you disagree. If you got value from this, send me a message on Instagram or send me a message somewhere. Give this a share. Share it with a friend. And if you want to work on yourself, you're like, okay, you know what? I get it. I'm a people pleaser. I haven't set boundaries. My self-worth is shit. I've got a lot of unhealed stuff as well. Or maybe you are what people would call a narcissist and you recognize you want to heal through your stuff and you want to work with someone. I help people do this. If that feels alive for you, if that feels right for you, if my energy feels right, if we feel aligned with each other, there is a link down below. If you're watching this, it's normally on my Instagram profile as well. But There's a link below if you want to join my conscious community. I teach people how to do this, how to get clear on your purpose, your values, understand limiting beliefs and how to rewrite them, how to identify your wounds and traumas and heal through them, how to set boundaries, all of that good stuff. If that sounds like you, there's details down below. I appreciate you listening to this podcast. I hope you got value from it, and have a great day, you narcissistic human, because we are all narcissistic at some point. I love you. Hope you enjoyed this. Speak to you soon.